According to the Yerov of the Rebbe, to make a sim after every sefer, yesterday, we completed Nizikין. Today we start Kinian. We have the honor to have today חושב מגרמן, חושב והסקונים, חושב הגבוהים, הרב החושב, הרב ישעי, צירקינד, ותחילת סיום והסחולה. Everybody please, come sit around.
Actually, the empty table, there's nobody there. An empty table, they can picture.
I have to pick up I can stay for a minute. Pick up my daughter.
Okay. The Rambam finishes off Sefer Nizikін by the dinim of Priko and Te'ino. Rambam says that if you find two people, an animal that is laden with merchandise and one that is empty and you have to reload it, the mitzvah of Priko comes first. You have to unload the animal first because of the inyan of Tzar Ba'al Chaim. But the Rambam says that if one is a soine and one is a oyev, then you have to go first to the animal to the person that you hate, because you have to be kafir your yetzer hara. Correct? The Rambam how's such thing possible? In other words, why is the Torah giving a mitzvah of a soine? Okay, there's no such thing as the Torah says le'sisna zechicha b'vavecha. So says the Rambam in Sif Halach Yidal, Asoine shenam ba'Torah hu miYisrael le'mi umas ha'olam. Number one, the sign that the Torah is talking about here is a Yid, not from the Goyim. One reason is because there's no mitzvah to unload an animal that belongs to a Goy. That's according to some, and the others say that that if you do it for a Goy, you could ask for payment. But that doesn't seem to me that's what the Torah is talking about here. So the question is, how could one Yid hate another Yid? The Torah clearly says it's forbidden to hate another Yid. So the Chacham answer like this: it's talking about a scenario where you saw that he did an avera, you were alone, and you warned him, but he didn't do tshuva. So such a person is a mitzvah l'sanei. So even though you warned him and you told him off, he didn't listen, you have the mitzvah to hate him until he does tshuva. So now here's this person that you hate, so nonetheless, even though he is a soine and he didn't do tshuva yet, if you find him that he's panicking regarding his masa, mitzvah lifrek v'litin imoy, you have the mitzvah, you have the obligation to help him to unload his animal and to reload it, and do not allow that this person should have his possessions, his animal, to come to debt to either him or his animal. It might happen that because he has his belongings laid down on the floor and he's waiting to get help, he's going to wait around and he might get robbed or something like that. So therefore, you have the mitzvah to help him. Torah was concerned for every Yid bein Rashem bein tzadikim, because they're all connected to the Eibishter and they all believe beikar adas. That Hashem says that I await for the Rasha to do tshuva. That means that every Yid is strongly connected to the Eibishter. So that's how the Rambam concludes Sefer Nizikін. That the mitzvah, that there's a mitzvah to kaifa. There's a number of close mitzvahs over here that you have to. Number one, kaifa is yitzir hara. Another thing is that even a yid that has done averis and he's far off, and you have the mitzvah to hate him, you still have the obligation to help him that he shouldn't come to a matzav of sakana. That's quite an obvious halacha that every chassid understands this. You have to help another yid. They shouldn't come to a sakana, no matter what his matzav ruchni looks like. So, I want to say, okay, Sefer Shnei Masar v'Sefer Kina. So the Rambam begins Reish Chachma Knei Chachma v'Chol Kinyancha Knei Bina. That the beginning of Chachma, you have to acquire Chachma, and in all your acquisitions Knei Bina. So we'll discuss this pasuk in a moment. Sefer Shnei Masar v'Sefer Kina. So the Rambam begins with the dinim of mekach. Mekach enikna b'dvarim. You cannot acquire anything with consent, with verbal consent. Even if you have witnesses to testify that there was a consent, that doesn't help anything. One says that I'm selling you this house, either this house, wine, or the servant, and they agreed upon a price. Lekeach agreed and said, yes, I bought it. I agree to buy it. And the moicher agrees to sell it. The Edom, they say to the Edom, testify upon us that I sold it, and this one bought it. This is worth nothing. This is as if no transaction has ever happened, because you have to make a Kinian, as the Rambam will say in Halacha Beis. And the same halacha applies regarding giving a matana and receiving it. Okay, so I'll just say one word on this beginning. The Rambam opens up Sefer Kinin by saying Reishis Chachma Knei Chachma V'chol Kinyancha Knei Bina. What's this pasuk shaychus to the Sefer Kinin? So the Rebbe discusses over here that Bechlal, the inyan of Kinyan of Yipnimis Yananim, is referring to the idea that the Olam Haza is Reshus Harabim Turi de Pruda, and the Avodah is to elevate the Inyan Olam Haza and elevate them to Kedusha, and thereby making a Kinyan, that the Eibishter makes a Kinyan on the Chafetzim of Olam Haza, and in exchange Hashem gives us Kesef. That's a Lashon Nichsev Nichsafta, which is a Lashon for Ava. So the Avodah is to elevate the physical world and bring it up to the Eibishter. In that itself, there are a number of ways. There's metaltalin and there's karka. The Tzemach Tzedek explains that the inyanim of different ways of doing avodah, different kinyanim regarding metaltalin. But b'chlalos, there's two inyanim. There's meshicha and kesef. Metaltalin is nishna b'meshicha b'chazaka. Yeah, no, that's whatever. But karka is nikne b'shleisha dvarim. That's kesef, shtar, and chazaka. So what's the difference between these two inyanim? Metaltalin refers to which is movable objects, which are not really permanent things. So they that shows that the avodah is not a permanent avodah, whereas karka is property, is something which is more permanent. And so even of kinyan is an even of shleisha kavin. A shleisha dvar mo'elam oimed. There's three inyanim: kesef, chazaka, kesef, shtar, and chazaka, which is more permanent, which is related to the ilam of toyu, which is a scalus of chesed gvura. You have both inyanim, which metaltalin has two kavin, only chesed and gvura kind of. The Rebbe brings an interesting word. He says, regarding isha niknes v'shleisha drachim, he says when you're talking about making a kinyan isha niknes, so the shleisha drachim, which is related to the avodah of Olam Hatikun, but isha kainas atzma b'shnei drachim, kainas atzma, which is related to the inyan of toyu, which is a churban, which is gerushin. There you see that there's two kavin, and that's not a permanent avodah. So back to the nekuda here, since we're talking about the kinyan of karka, which is a permanent kinyan. So the Rambam begins reishis chachma knei bina, which means that since where the shleimus avodah is to elevate this world in neifen kavua, so for that, in order for the moichin to permeate the midos, in order to that in a proper way, that you have the skalas of chesed and gvura, you have to have chachma and bina to direct the midas to be in a proper way. That's why the Rambam begins the Sefer Kinyan with the pasuk reishis chachma knei bina.
Rambam, das auch zugerechnet, es geht bald seit der סיום. Sein Sim, nur das Ding von mir hat Mamisch. Ja.